The NBA drafts. The draft every other year gives you one great transformational player. Durant, LeBron, D-Wade. I count Westbrook in that. The NBA draft on average gives you 5 All-Stars. And when I say All-Star, I mean like one-time All-Star. Kyle Korver, Mo Williams. That's all the draft gives you. In fact, it looks like it's trending that it's giving you less than that. So don't kid yourself about this draft. All my NBA scouts have said the same thing. There's 2 stars in this draft, Zion and Ja Morant. There's a third kid, RJ Barrett at Duke, who's really going to score a lot of points. He may not have the Zion or Ja Morant, but the kid averaged 22 at Duke with a bunch of NBA guys and sharing the ball. RJ Barrett, the gap after 3 to 4 is a silhouette. It is a crapshoot. And that's not my opinion. Never forget what this draft gives you. This is not the NFL draft where you can find Tom Brady in the 6th. You got 2 rounds. Historically, there's almost nothing after about the 16th pick. I went and looked the last 20 drafts. Every other year, you get a game changer. Okay? Then you get about 5 1-, 2-time All-Stars every draft. And so everybody this morning is like, oh, the Knicks lost. The Lakers won because the Lakers went from 11 to 4. The gap between the 3rd pick, RJ Barrett, the Knicks could get that, and the 4th pick, the Lakers, is a silhouette. Rob Pelinka saying yesterday's quote, he said, oh my God, we went from 11 to 4. That sounds good on Twitter. But guys in the NBA know that the gap from 4 to 11, you may get a better player at 10 than you do at 4. It's just a crapshoot. A crapshoot means you don't know exactly what you're getting. A lot of guys, like 2 of my scouts, love the center, the late developing center, Jackson Hayes at Texas. Everybody says he's going to go 11th. I got scouts saying that's the sleeper in the draft. That's the Klay Thompson. That's the guy that's going to pop. And he's going 11th. So the Knicks' 3rd pick is of much greater value than the Lakers' 4th pick. And both of them want Anthony Davis. And Anthony Davis will go to New York or L.A. And Rich Paul would take either one of those, although he'd probably prefer L.A. because LeBron's there. But the Knicks, if I'm the Pelicans and I get Zion, and Zion elects to play for the Pelicans, and I look from a marketing standpoint, New Orleans is a party and football city. It's one of the great college football cities in the country. It's probably the #1 party city in America. It's one of the best NFL cities. Bruh, not an NBA town. Marketing matters. They can't sell tickets with Anthony Davis. They can't sell tickets the year they made the playoffs. If you could give me Zion and RJ Barrett, best friends at Duke, Duke's the #1 program, and then you throw in a couple picks, Kevin Knox, I'd take that over a number 4 pick, which is a crapshoot, Kyle Kuzma, Lonzo Ball and his dad. Now, the Lakers do have a better roster than the Knicks currently have. But RJ Barrett, if you ask any scout in this league, has a much higher ceiling than Kyle Kuzma and most believe Brandon Ingram. So if I'm David Griffin and Zion did elect to play for me in a city that's a party city, a college football city, an NFL city where I can't sell tickets with Anthony Davis, the New York 3rd pick is infinitely more captivating from a marketing standpoint than the Lakers' 4th and a bunch of guys that LeBron doesn't want to play with. I mean, there's a reason all those Laker names came out during the trading deadline, because LeBron told Magic, can't win big with these guys. LeBron's not into these guys. Why should the Pelicans be? So, this idea the Lakers won last night, the gap between 3 and 4 in this draft is a mile wide. And never forget what the NBA draft is. I went back and looked at the last 20. You get a difference maker every other draft, 1. And then you average about 5 All-Stars, and I'm talking it is a lot of Kyle Korver All-Stars, not Steph Curry All-Stars. So the idea the Lakers won, people inside the league are not going, ooh, the 4th pick. Everybody in the league knew last night, top 3 picks, those are guarantees. After that, there's a lot of finger crossing. And I'm not saying there won't be another 5 guys that make it, but it's a crapshoot. That's what I'm hearing from my scouts all over the league. After 3, it's a crapshoot. Would, depends on the system, the coach, the attitude, the injuries, crapshoot. Joy with the news.
No.
Turn on the news.
This is the Herd Line News.
All right, we have some breaking news, Colin. The Jets have fired their general manager, Mike McCognon.
Yep.
And the interim GM is interesting. Jets CEO Christopher Johnson wrote in a statement, "This morning I informed Mike that he was being relieved of his duties as general manager of the team effective immediately. I came to the decision to make a change after much thought and a careful assessment of what would be in the best long-term interest of the New York Jets. I will start a search for our new general manager immediately. In the interim, Coach Gase will be the acting general manager."
Yeah, Coach Gase will not be the GM long term. This is the right move to make. After the draft, I said this, remember the day after the draft, I came out and I said, I don't know who has the best draft. I know who has the worst draft, the Jets. This guy, I had a general manager in the league and a director of scouting the Sunday after the draft text me and say, the Jets have no idea what they're doing. Now, he's done a good job on his first pick. Jamal Adams, Leonard Williams, Sam Darnold dropped in his lap. They had no game plan in this draft. Okay, they took medical issue guys and character issue guys. The Colts don't take either. It was a draft that had no direction. Listen, when you get the third pick, it's not hard to get a great player. The great teams in this draft find talent mid to late, second, third, fourth, fifth. Their third-round picks are a disaster. They're character guys who could be high or could be whiffs, and that's not what you do when you're building a franchise. He just does it. They needed a center, didn't address it. They needed a number one receiver in a great receiver draft, didn't address it. He doesn't know what he's doing. They do not have a plan, and this is the right move going forward.
We had 2 years left on his contract, and there's also rumors that he had a spat with Coach Gase. So that's probably not the best environment to begin with anyway, and you're trying to launch the career of Sam Darnold, and you have Le'Veon Bell, and you should be in a good, positive trending position. So I guess they're just clearing house, because they also fired the VP of player personnel as well.
For the record, anybody can get the number one pick right, and anybody can draft Sam Darnold when he falls into your lap. Don't give him credit for Sam Darnold and Jamal Adams.
No, you like you said, you get credit for the later rounds, finding guys that are not the obvious picks and building your team from the ground up. So that draft, that's not the way to go.
All my NFL sources, they're not going to bang a guy, but all my NFL sources were like, this guy's on an island. He's not connected to people. To make deals in this league, like Andy Reid, Sean Payton, Belichick, to make deals in this league, Joy, you have to have friends in the league. You have to have connections, because, Belichick's got guys in the league that work with him, right? Like Shanahan. So he calls Kyle Shanahan. This Jets GM, nobody knows him. He doesn't.
Yeah, you have to have relationships, and
he doesn't
have conversations about players and be in the know. You work in the information business. That's how it goes. So, Knicks fans apparently weren't the only ones disappointed when the team ended up with a third pick. According to Mark Spears of The Undefeated, Zion Williamson was definitely rooting for the Knicks to get the top spot so he could end up in New York. Zion reportedly quickly left the room after the Pelicans were announced as the lottery winners. Look, it kind of felt like a collective overall just air out of the room when the top four picks were even announced, because as soon as they announced that it was Memphis, New Orleans, New York, and LA, it was like it had the feeling like this could go very badly, and it did go very badly. And this is not a knock on New Orleans. I love New Orleans. It's a great city. It's not even about the city. There's just no history with that organization. There's no culture with that organization. We talk about small market teams that are having success right now. The Blazers, incredible NBA history with the Blazers. The Nuggets, not really that small of a market, and they have a history and culture there as well. Oklahoma City is not new to success. They were in the finals with 3 MVPs.
If the Saints got the number one pick, nobody would be bummed out, because we know Mickey Loomis and Sean Payton. We know they're well run. It's not market.
We've seen this. They have Anthony Davis. We don't talk about Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is a great player. There's no movement with him, and we sound like we're being elitist and we only care about the big markets. The small market teams are doing well right now. We talk about Cleveland every day for how many years?
The small market teams are dominating the league.
Right. It's not about that. It's about the specific organization. It feels like he's going to go there and disappear into the mist, and nobody wants that. I don't even think Pelicans fans want that, because they're still not going to be relevant. Finally, there was a game last night. Steph Curry looked like Steph Curry last night. He had 9 threes and scored 36 points in 35 minutes.
He was wild.
He was. And he led the Warriors to a 116-94 win over Portland. The game overall kind of felt like a regular season game. There was no real sense of urgency, I didn't feel like, from either team. It was just the Warriors kind of playing great, and the Blazers just looked a little tired and sluggish and just sort of off.
You notice something? Steph and Clay's games have stepped up in recent days without KD.
Well, they have more space to do that. KD was out again with his right calf strain. But despite the fact that they lost game one, 3 playoff teams have already won 7-game series, 4-1 after losing the opener, the Raptors, the Sixers, and the Bucks. So Portland does have time to regroup for game 2.
Yeah.
It just kind of felt like they were tired,
Yes.
a little off. And they were there for most of the game anyway,
Yeah.
despite that. So I'm not discouraged at this. I mean,
No.
Golden State won game 1. Like,
Yep.
shocker, not the end of the world.
Yeah,
but
Portland looked gassed.
yeah, but Steph did look incredible.
He did. And Clay in the second half was incredible. Joy with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
I'm not sure if Nick Wright heard my open, but I do believe the NBA and basketball in general, from AAU to college to the NBA, is the player empowerment league. I have no problem with that. I don't think the NFL is that. And I've seen Elway and Eli say, nah, bruh, I'm going elsewhere. Hockey's very much about the team, not about the individual. And I saw Eric Lindros say, nah, I'm not playing here. I'm Zion. I say trade me or I'm sitting out, and I don't think we'd hold it against him for a minute. Via the Cowherd Global Satellite Network, my buddy Nick Wright